Hello and welcome to KUBBY TV, and boy oh boy have we got some great news. Really great news. Our side scored a huge victory yesterday, and you won't be able to read about it in the papers. It probably won't even be in High Times or any of the other alternative press, but other attorneys have already sent their congratulations to Bill McPike, who is my personal attorney, also the attorney of record for Jack Hare for many years, a man who never advertises and has more clients than he knows what to do with. Bill McPike has been on the cover of National Law Review. He is the only attorney I know of who teaches 215 defense tactics for college credit. This is one of the most amazing attorneys that I've ever met. And wow, did he score big? Okay, so here's what's going on. You have in California the coast, which is fairly enlightened. You have to the north an area that may be best, the northeast of California, an area that comprises or is about to comprise the state of Jefferson. And farther down in the Central Valley, you have Redneckistan, and then in the southern part of the valley, you have what my friends and I refer to as Calabama. What that means is that areas like Fresno are some of the most backward, aggressive, hostile, prohibitionist jurisdictions in the entire state. So obviously anything you can accomplish in freaking Fresno County is applicable for the rest of the state, because they're so restrictive, so prohibitionist in Fresno. And the recent ordinance that they passed is a perfect example. I mean, you have to agree to police surveillance, you have to sign a notary that you know that you're violating federal law. It just goes on and on and on. It's an absolutely impossible scheme to comply with. But unlike any of the other court challenges that we're aware of, Bill McPike went to the court and said, I am an individual patient. I'm not a business. I'm not a collective, I'm not a cooperative, and you have no right to interfere with my personal rights under Prop 215. And what Bill discovered, what he pioneered, is what I would call, what he calls a pure 215 defense. And it's that pure 215 defense that Fresno, which originally treated Bill McPike with contempt, I mean real contempt. They thought he was a joke. Well, the joke is on them, because Bill defeated them with a motion that was so powerful, so compelling, that they gave it up and they agreed to change their initiative. Well, I'll tell you what, let's jump right now, get Bill McPike on Skype, and let Bill tell you the story, because I'll tell you, this is huge. This is the first time in a long time that I've seen someone secure our cultivation rights, protect all of our rights under 215, without agreeing to a single concession, without giving up a single right, without allowing them to dilute us in any way. And this is applicable across the state, perhaps across the country. Right now, let's go, and we're going to speak via Skype with my personal attorney and good friend, Bill McPike.
We had a draconian ordinance that passed over 2 years ago that required an individual patient to register as a business, go to the sheriff, get a background check, sign a notarized letter that you know you're violating federal law when you cultivate marijuana, get a medical marijuana business cultivator's license, get a building in a manufacturing zone, hire a security guard, report to the sheriff, have 24/7 video for the sheriff to review, list all your members and everything else. And I said, look, I'm a qualified patient and I just want to grow one or more plants. And I don't want to go through all that expense and rigmarole and have public scrutiny, give up my Fifth Amendment rights and everything else. So I sued Fresno County and the Board of Supervisors. So anyway, I get this call 2 years later because I filed my suit on Halloween 2011. So I'd remember the date. And basically that I won, and I was going to have to dismiss my lawsuit because there was not going to be any draconian ordinance for me to have the judge strike. So it hit me by surprise because I didn't know what the board was doing. And so basically, I told the county attorney, I said, if you're correct, but I want to read this ordinance, but if you're correct, and upon the final vote, I have no lawsuit because everything's gone, then you're right, I would dismiss it. Okay, so it's like a standoff. We both walk away. And so anyway, he was happy. He kept explaining to me the procedure. I know what the procedure is. I've been an attorney for over 33 years. So anyway, I went, he told me how to find the draft ordinance. It's 38 pages long, but really the first 10 pages are what's important because sections 2 and 3 strike the licensing requirement in section 2. Section 3 strikes the entire ordinance. So pages 11 through 38 on this thing, all they did, they typed word for word the nuisance statute, what the penalties are, and what the appeal process is. So I can throw that away. And on page 10, it says 12 plants or less may be cultivated indoors or outdoors and are not subject to any regulations. So that's what we ended up. Instead of trying to grow one plant in a warehouse 50 miles from my home and going through all these registrations and confessions, it's all going to go away October the 8th.
Well, Bill, what can individuals do within their own counties to benefit from what you've discovered and to change the law that they have to deal with? What is the secret here?
What the litigation has been, Steve, and like I say, I filed mine in 2011, but you had Jason Brown versus Tehama County, and he lost, and that appellate decision came out after I filed my lawsuit. But he was a collective that wanted to farm. Okay, and then we had Jeff Nunez versus County of Tulare. He lost, and that appeal came out May of this year, and that was a large number of members, over 1,000 members, who wanted to collectively cultivate, and so they lost. And so at the time I formulated my lawsuit, I'm the only plaintiff, and I'm a qualified patient. I figured, I'm a patient. Why can't I grow at least one plant in my yard, in my garden, without going through all this bullshit? And so that's the distinguishing factor. And I think that anybody can use that against their city or their county. What cities and counties do is they regulate their local commerce, their local businesses, and where those businesses can go, but anybody can have a garden. I think this will work any place. One patient wanting to grow one or more plants. I mean, how can they stop it? I mean, that's Prop 215. And I even had reservations when the Riverside versus Inland Empire was argued before the California Supreme Court in February of this year. And then they came out with their decision that says cities and counties can regulate the land use, and there's no preemption under Prop 215 or SB 420. So they could do pretty much what they wanted. But I still figured I had a pure Prop 215 argument. I mean, what good is the law? And I even have the Fresno County patient identification card. And so what good is the card? It says it stops the arrest. All these court decisions say it's only an affirmative defense, but if you have the card, it stops the arrest. And so what gives the card? I got the county health department giving me the card. The county board of supervisors is telling me I can't grow one plant.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, Bill, you're saying that the whole key is to go to court as an individual, securing your individual rights, and not try to go to court as a collective or a group or even a family.
If there's any public registration requirements for an individual, then the feds can use that. I mean, the likelihood of them using it is probably slim and none. But it's just like in United States versus Timothy Leary. We'd had the Marijuana Tax Act since 1937, and the United States Supreme Court threw it out as unconstitutional in 1969. I can't imagine how many hundreds of thousands of people were busted under that. I've seen stuff, movies, stuff from Normal, History Channel, Discovery Channel. I think there was one gentleman that had a joint. I forget what state he was in, and he got 50 years. And here it was unconstitutional for all that time, for 33 years. Worse, people still went to federal prison. So we need to take back our freedoms and our rights, and it's one chip of the rock at a time. So any registration requirements will be a public record, and I haven't seen any decision on violation of our Fifth Amendment rights in that regard. When you sign that registration, you're admitting you're committing criminal acts under federal law. So how can they do that? I refuse. I won't do it.
Well, as I said, other attorneys such as Dale Geringer, head of California Normal, Dennis Roberts, a top attorney, and several other people I can't think of right now, I personally saw their congratulations emailed to Bill McPike for this extraordinary accomplishment. And of course, don't expect the mainstream media to cover it. Don't expect people to acknowledge that this is a huge victory, because that's not the way we win in this business. We seem to win by attrition. We seem to win by beating them and then having that victory smothered or ignored by mainstream media. But make no mistake, my friends, Bill McPike has accomplished something that has huge implications for taking back cities and counties that have blocked legitimate patients from exercising their cultivation rights. Well, this has been Steve Kubby with KUBBY TV, brought to you by Pot TV and Cannabis Culture, wishing you the very best 420 day.